So right now, somewhere out in the world, there are, billionaires working these crazy 80-hour weeks
Oh, absolutely.
just to stockpile money that they could never, possibly spend in 10 lifetimes.
Right. Not even close.
And as a culture, we look at that behavior and we call it ambition.
Right.
We put them on magazine covers.
Yeah, we applaud it.
Yeah.
We make them the ideal.
Exactly. But if you were to take that exact same psychological profile and hand it to an ancient Ayurvedic physician or an energy practitioner, they wouldn't call it ambition at all.
No, they really wouldn't.
They would look at that relentless, fear-driven hoarding, and they would diagnose it as a severe, biological and energetic malfunction.
It completely flips the script on what we consider success, doesn't it?
Totally.
Because, from an energetic standpoint, accumulating resources that far beyond your physical needs, it isn't a sign of stability. It's a glaring symptom of a system that is terrified.
It's screaming that it's fundamentally unsafe.
Exactly. No matter how thick the fortress walls are, the panic is still inside.
And that profound, lingering sense of being unsafe, that inexplicable anxiety or just the feeling that the ground beneath you is somehow unsteady, that is exactly our mission for this deep dive today.
It's such a crucial topic.
It really is. So we are welcoming you to an exploration that aims to demystify this exact feeling. If you have ever felt, disconnected from your own body or chronically worried about survival despite logic telling you that you're totally fine.
Right, when the math says you're okay, but your body disagrees.
Exactly. Or if you just feel fundamentally ungrounded, we're going to look at a framework today that explains exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how to actually fix it.
Which is the part everyone is waiting for, right?
Definitely.
Mm.
And we have a really remarkable stack of sources to guide us today. This is coming directly from Palwinder Singh and his practice, Infinite Divine Energy Alignment.
Yeah, and what makes this material so compelling, at least to me, isn't just the theory of it. It's the sheer scale of the application here.
The numbers are wild.
They really are. Palwinder Singh has personally guided more than 100,000 people through this specific type of healing and alignment.
100,000 people. I want that number to really sink in for you. That is a massive sample size of human experience.
It's an entire stadium full of individuals.
Right, a stadium full of people seeking balance, presenting, every conceivable symptom of feeling ungrounded.
Yeah, you don't hit that number without seeing literally everything.
And to start our journey into how he actually helps them, we are going straight to the absolute foundation.
Literal bedrock.
Yep. We are looking at a concept known as the Root Chakra, or in Sanskrit, Muladhara. The source material frames this as the bedrock of our entire energy system.
It's where the whole journey begins. The journey towards safety and stability and inner strength.
But before we dive into the deep end of the pool here, let's strip away the New Age jargon for a second.
I think that's really important to do.
Yeah, because for anyone listening who hears the words energy healing or chakras and immediately rolls their eyes.
Because they're picturing magic wands in fantasy novels, right?
Exactly. Crystals and chanting and stuff. How do we ground this? What is the actual mechanical playing field we are looking at here? Layman's terms.
It's a vital distinction to make, honestly, because the vocabulary used in ancient texts, it often alienates a modern, scientifically minded listener.
Right, it sounds woo-woo.
But if we look past that ancient terminology, we are basically just talking about human biology.
Okay, biology.
I'm with you. Think of your body, right? Not just as a collection of mechanical levers, not just meat and bone and muscle, but think of it as a highly conductive bioelectrical grid.
Okay, because our nervous system runs on electricity.
Exactly. We already know the nervous system runs entirely on electrical impulses. Your brain sends an electrical charge down your spine just to tell your foot to move. So energy healing operates on the fundamental principle that this electrical energetic system can become congested or, restricted.
Okay, so if we step away from the old kink in a garden hose metaphor, which honestly has always felt a little too simplistic to me, what are we really looking at in the body?
Well, a much better way to visualize it is to look at the body's fascial network.
The fascia. Okay, so the connective tissue.
Right. The tissue that surrounds literally every muscle and organ in your body. It's piezoelectric.
Piezoelectric.
Meaning it literally generates and conducts electrical charge. So when you experience trauma or even just chronic stress, that tissue physically tightens. It grips.
Oh, wow. And when it grips?
When it grips, the electrical conductivity in that specific area drops. It lowers.
That makes total physical sense.
Yeah. So the chakras that are mentioned in all these ancient texts, they are simply the major processing nodes along this bioelectrical grid.
Got it.
In the traditional system, there are 7 main junctions running up the center of the human body.
But they aren't physical organs, right? Like, you can't point to one on an X-ray.
No, you can't extract a chakra during an autopsy. They are energetic intersections, basically massive hubs of neurological and vascular activity.
Okay, so energy healing, when we strip away the mysticism, is just the systematic practice of locating where that bioelectrical flow is restricted.
Exactly. Finding the restriction and then using specific frequencies to restore the normal, healthy conductivity of the entire system.
Well, that immediately makes it so much more accessible. We are literally just talking about the body's internal power grid.
That's all it is.
And that brings us to the specific node we are focusing on today. Because to understand why you might feel anxious or unsteady, we have to start at the absolute base of this structure.
The root chakra.
Right. So let's map this out. Where exactly is this node?
Well, the literal anatomical location of this energy center is incredibly telling. According to Paul Singh's texts, the root chakra is located at the very base of the spine. Specifically, it's at the perineum, which is the space right between the anus and the genitals.
So literally the absolute bottom of the human torso.
Exactly. The pelvic floor.
And structurally speaking, I mean, the pelvic floor is the literal weight-bearing hammock for all of your internal organs.
It is. It is the physical foundation that holds your entire core together.
Wow.
So everything about its energetic characteristics completely mirrors this idea of foundational support. The texts associate it with the element of earth.
Earth. Makes sense.
Hey.
Heavy, grounded.
Right. Its corresponding color is red. And its Sanskrit name, Muladhara, actually translates beautifully and literally to root support.
Root support. I mean, even saying the word Muladhara, it feels heavy, like it drops your voice down an octave just saying it.
It has a very specific resonance, yeah.
But I want to dig into that color association for a second. The color red, because, you know, in the visible light spectrum, red has the longest wavelength and the lowest frequency.
Yes.
It is literally the most dense physical color the human eye can perceive.
That is a brilliant connection to make because the root chakra is considered the most dense physical energy center in the body, so it naturally aligns with the most dense physical frequency of visible light.
It's crazy how that lines up.
And it's also no coincidence that universally, human beings associate the color red with survival.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We use it for stop signs, emergency alarms.
Ambulances, fire trucks.
Right, and it is the color of our blood.
Exactly. It commands an immediate, visceral, biological response regarding our safety.
Which perfectly ties into the visual symbol that they use for this chakra. The source material describes it as a 4-petaled lotus. But right at its center is a distinct square.
Yes, a yellow square, traditionally.
And that really stuck out to me. Like, why a square? When we think of spirituality or energy, we usually think of flowing circles or maybe ascending triangles. So why this rigid geometric square?
Well, if you look at sacred geometry, or honestly even just basic architecture, the square is the ultimate universal symbol of stability.
Okay, I can see that.
Like a circle implies motion, right? It rolls. A triangle directs energy up or down. It have a point of tension at the top.
Right.
But a square just sits perfectly flat on the earth. It has 4 equal corners. It doesn't tip, it doesn't roll, it doesn't yield to pressure.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Like, if you were building a skyscraper, you do not pour a circular foundation.
Never. You pour a massive rectangular concrete block.
Wow.
So the square inside that lotus, it represents the solid, immovable earth. It is the architectural anchor for the entire human energetic system.
And to lock that anchor in, the source material mentions the sound or the bija mantra associated with this chakra. And that sound is Lam, L-A-M.
Lam.
So you have the heavy, dense earth element, the low-frequency color red, the immovable square, and this deep, resonant sound, Lam, all anchoring you to the base of your spine.
It's a complete sensory grounding system.
It really is. But the analogy from Paul Singh's notes that really, I think, drives the function of this home for beginners is the tree trunk.
It's such a perfect analogy. It really illustrates the dependency of the entire human system on this single point.
So the root chakra is the trunk of the tree.
Exactly. And the text lists all these other brilliant chakras that sit above it. And they draw their strength entirely from this trunk.
Right, like you've got the sacral chakra for
The
emotions,
solar plexus for your personal power and drive.
the heart for love,
The throat for communication.
the third eye for intuition.
And the crown for your spiritual connection.
Okay, but I want to push back on this idealized image for a second here.
Sure.
Because if this root is the trunk, what happens if those roots are planted in shallow, toxic, or rocky soil?
That's the million-dollar question.
I mean, does a perfectly healthy heart chakra or a brilliant intuitive mind chakra even matter if the foundation is fundamentally compromised? Like, can you actually have a thriving emotional life if your root is rotted?
The harsh reality is you cannot. You really can't. Yeah, and this is where the ancient energetic mapping perfectly mirrors modern psychology. Specifically, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh, wow, yes. The pyramid.
Exactly. The root chakra governs our most primal psychological survival instincts, our physical identity, and our literal sense of belonging in the world.
The base of the pyramid.
Right. So if that base shakes, the whole structure above it vibrates with that instability. Let's look at your example of the heart chakra, right?
Okay.
You might have a massive capacity for love and empathy, truly. But if your root chakra is unbalanced, meaning you fundamentally feel unsafe in the world, that love is inevitably going to be tainted.
Tainted how? Like with jealousy?
Jealousy or anxious attachment, intense fear of abandonment, controlling possessiveness.
Because your system is terrified that the love will just be taken away. And that threatens your survival.
Precisely. It always comes back to survival. Or take the third eye, right? Your intellect and your intuition.
Okay.
You might have a brilliant mind and these incredibly innovative, visionary ideas. But if your root is unstable, you won't have the grounding, the executive function, or really the resilience to actually execute those ideas in the material, physical world.
Oh, I know so many people like that. They have amazing ideas, but they just can't get them off the ground.
Exactly. You'll just float in a world of concepts, basically paralyzed by the fear of failure. So the higher functions of the human experience, they rely absolutely on the stability of the foundation beneath them.
Man. So it's like trying to install a multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art security system and a beautiful crystal chandelier in a house that's actively sliding into a sinkhole.
That's exactly what it is.
It doesn't matter how luxurious the upper floors are. The house is going down.
Right. If your nervous system is constantly locked in a state of survival, you simply cannot reach self-actualization. Biology literally won't allow it.
Biology won't allow it. That is powerful. Okay, so now that we know what a healthy tree trunk is supposed to look like and how utterly vital it is to everything else we do, we need to examine what happens when that foundation becomes unbalanced.
Because it's not a binary thing. It's not just healthy or broken.
Right. And according to Paul Wintersingh's insights, it's not just a matter of the root rotting away and disappearing. It can also grow way too aggressively.
Yeah, there's a wide spectrum of imbalance.
The text is very clear on this, right? Breaking the human experience down into 3 distinct states.
Yes. You have the balanced state, the underactive or blocked state, and the overactive state.
And each of those presents with a radically different set of behaviors and physical symptoms.
Completely different presentations.
So let's start with the goal, the ideal, the balanced state. When Muladhara is open, unblocked, and flowing perfectly, what does the source say that actually feels like for a person just walking around in the world?
It describes an internal state of deep safety and security.
Okay.
But, and this is the crucial part of this description, it says this feeling persists remarkably even during times of uncertainty.
Oh, wow. That is a massive distinction.
It really is.
So it's not just feeling safe when your bank account is full and your boss is happy and everyone is getting along.
Right, it's feeling safe when things are chaotic.
Which feels almost impossible sometimes.
It does. But that's because the safety isn't dependent on external circumstances. It's an internal anchor.
An internal anchor. I love that.
And the text notes that this balanced state also manifests as physical virality, highly stable energy levels.
So you don't have these wild crashes of exhaustion in the middle of the afternoon.
Exactly. And financially, it manifests as stability, or at the very least, a healthy, non-anxious relationship with money. You trust your body and its physical needs.
Right.
You feel a profound, unquestionable unquestionable sense of belonging, whether that's to your immediate family, your local community, or honestly just feeling like you belong on the earth itself.
That sounds so peaceful.
It's incredibly peaceful. You have immense resilience during stress, meaning you can process a threat without spiraling into a paralyzing fear response. The phrase Paul Winder uses in the text is feeling truly at home in your own skin.
Feeling at home in your own skin. I mean, in 2026, that sounds less like a baseline and more like a rare superpower.
It really does.
But let's look at the flip side of that. When that system is starved, when the root chakra is underactive or completely blocked apart, what happens to the person?
The symptoms of a deficit here are deeply debilitating. You see a baseline of chronic anxiety.
It's always anxious.
Always. It's a persistent humming sense of unease that the person just can't pin down to a specific cause.
Like they wake up and just feel dread.
Exactly. They just always feel like something terrible is about to happen. And there's often a deep, paralyzing fear around money, survival, or basic needs.
Even if they're financially fine.
Yes. Even if they objectively have enough to survive, the fear is still there.
Wow. And the physical sensation of that deficit, the way it's described, is fascinating to me. The source says people with a blocked root chakra often describe feeling disconnected from their physical body.
Yeah, dissociation.
Right. They use words like floaty or spaced out.
Because if the physical world feels fundamentally dangerous, the human consciousness will instinctively attempt to retreat upward, away from the root, away from the body.
It's like an escape hatch.
Exactly. They literally try to float away from the danger.
But that floaty feeling,
Yeah.
it's not a peaceful meditation kind of floaty. It's like a hot air balloon that's had its tether completely snapped.
That's a terrifying way to fly.
Right. You're just drifting into the atmosphere in this untethered way, completely at the mercy of the wind.
Yes. And alongside that, the text mentions extreme fatigue, sluggishness, and a profound aching sense of not belonging anywhere.
You just feel like an alien on your own planet.
Which is a heartbreaking way to live.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But the spectrum swings the other way, too, and this is where I think it gets incredibly relevant to our modern society, the overactive root chakra.
Oh, this is the one that really holds a mirror up to us.
Yes, because the symptoms of excess here completely surprised me when I was reading the prep. What does a root chakra look like when it's dialed up to 11?
When the root chakra is overactive, the survival instinct just goes into a massive overdrive. The text explicitly lists greed, hoarding, or an incredibly unhealthy, all-consuming obsession with material security.
So instead of the cut string of the balloon from the underactive state, this is a tree that is sending its roots down so aggressively and so violently that it's shattering the concrete around it.
Yes.
Like it's destroying its own environment just to feel secure.
That is the perfect visual for it. You also see immense hostile resistance to change, excessive rigidity or stubbornness. Decision-making becomes entirely fear-driven and overly materialistic.
Right.
Every single choice is about acquiring more armor.
Right, more protection.
And there's a distinct aggression that flares up the second their perceived sense of safety feels threatened. Ultimately, it's characterized by a complete inability to relax or let go of control.
I have to pause here because reading that list of overactive symptoms, greed, hoarding, obsession with material security, fear-driven decision-making, extreme rigidity, the inability to let go of control.
It sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I mean, isn't that just a brutally accurate description of modern hustle culture?
It absolutely is.
We are constantly bombarded with messages to grind endlessly, right? To stockpile wealth, to dominate our industries.
Rise and grind.
Exactly. I was looking at my own Amazon cart the other night at 2 a.m. and I realized I had put 3 different types of tactical emergency flashlights in there.
Oh my gosh.
And I live in a perfectly safe suburb. Like, why am I prepping for the apocalypse at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Are we looking at a society that is actually suffering from a collective, deeply overactive root chakra,
I think we have to be.
where we have completely mistaken fear-driven hoarding for ambition and success?
It's an incredibly perceptive diagnosis of our culture because modern society absolutely incentivizes and rewards an overactive root chakra.
We literally pay people to be like this.
Yes. We look at individuals hoarding vast amounts of wealth resources they could never realistically consume, and we applaud it as ambition. But energetically and biologically, Paul Windersing's framework suggests this is a profound imbalance. It is a primal survival instinct malfunctioning in a modern setting.
Because no amount of money in the bank actually turns off the alarm bells in their nervous system.
Precisely. We have to clearly differentiate between true, peaceful financial stability, which is the hallmark of the balanced state, and an unhealthy obsession with material security, which is the overactive state.
So how do you tell the difference internally?
Well, when your root chakra is balanced, you have what you need, you inherently trust you will continue to have what you need, and therefore, you are at peace.
You aren't constantly checking the locks.
Right. But when it is overactive, the brain's amygdala is constantly screaming danger. It perceives fatal threats to survival even when sitting in the middle of absolute abundance.
Wow.
That's why humans react to perceived threats with such rigid aggression. They are desperately trying to build an impenetrable physical fortress to soothe an internal energetic panic.
But it doesn't work.
No, because that is a panic that can never actually be solved with external things.
It's like trying to fill a bucket that has no bottom.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you pour $1 million or $1 billion into it. It just keeps pouring right out, leaving you empty. So you just keep frantically pouring more in.
It's a tragic cycle.
Okay, so the emotional and behavioral symptoms, the baseline anxiety, the frantic hoarding, this stubborn rigidity, those make perfect logical sense to me.
Right.
But how does an invisible energetic imbalance literally manifest in human flesh and bone? And more importantly, what breaks this root chakra in the first place?
Well, the physical manifestations are quite literal, especially when you consider the anatomical location of the chakra.
Right, the base of the spine.
Exactly. And what it symbolically represents regarding support. The source lists the physical symptoms most frequently linked to this imbalance as chronic lower back pain,
Oh, interesting.
and also issues radiating down through the legs, feet, knees, or hips.
The literal structural foundation of the physical body.
Yes, the parts of the body that bear our weight and connect us directly to the ground. If the energetic foundation is unstable, the physical foundation begins to bear the brunt of that stress.
That makes so much sense.
The text also lists digestive problems, immune system weakness, and significant adrenal fatigue.
Okay, before we unpack the biology of that adrenal fatigue, we need to make a very clear, crucial disclaimer for you, the listener.
Absolutely essential.
The source material from Paul Winder Singh states this clearly, and we must echo it. Energy work is a complementary practice.
Yes, complementary.
It is not a replacement for traditional medical care. If you are experiencing chronic lower back pain, severe digestive issues, or debilitating fatigue, those physical symptoms should always be evaluated by a medical professional first.
You do not try to energetically heal a ruptured disc without seeing a doctor.
Right. Go to the doctor.
That is an essential boundary to set. The energetic map runs intimately alongside the physical map, but you cannot ignore the immediate physical reality of a medical condition. Energy work supports the body's healing environment. It does not replace the physician.
Okay, so with that understood, assuming medical conditions are being properly treated or ruled out, let's explore the why.
The root causes.
Yeah, what actually causes these deep imbalances in the Muladhara? How does the foundation of our energetic house get cracked in the first place?
Well, the text explains that root chakra imbalances almost always stem from visceral experiences of instability, particularly those that occur early in our neurological development.
So childhood.
Yes, we are looking at childhood instability, early trauma, emotional or physical neglect.
The formative years.
Exactly, when your nervous system is literally wiring itself to understand the world. But it can absolutely happen later in adult life too, through major disruptions. Like a sudden and traumatic job loss, the profound grief of losing a loved one, or just long, sustained periods of chronic stress. These events fundamentally shock your nervous system's sense of safety in the world.
Here's where the connection gets incredibly profound for me. I want to circle back to one of the specific physical symptoms the text mentioned, adrenal fatigue.
Oh, this is a great connection.
If we look at human anatomy, the adrenal glands sit right on top of the kidneys, right down there in that lower torso, lower back area.
Exactly where the root and sacral chakras meet.
Right. And their primary job is to pump out cortisol and adrenaline. They are the body's literal biological fight-or-flight mechanism.
Yes, they are the engines of your survival response.
So thousands of years ago, before modern medicine had MRI machines or hormone panel blood tests, this ancient chakra system mapped the exact energetic center of survival directly over the exact physical glandular system of survival.
It is genuinely staggering when you realize that when you map ancient energetic traditions onto modern endocrinology and neurology.
It's the same map.
They are describing the exact same human hardware, the exact same biological responses, just using a different vocabulary.
That is wild. So let's look at the mechanics of this. Say you experience a major life disruption, like a severe, unexpected job loss.
Okay.
Your adrenal glands instantly start firing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Your body is physiologically preparing you to either fight off a predator or run for your life, because loss of income equals loss of food and shelter.
So the body thinks you're being chased by a lion.
Yes, that's the physical reality. Energetically, your root chakra is suddenly blasted with fear. It clamps down, trying to grip onto whatever safety it can find.
Right.
And if that stress becomes chronic, say you are out of work for 6 months, the adrenal glands are overworked and become fatigued.
They just run out of gas.
Precisely. And simultaneously, the root chakra gets chronically blocked. Or it swings into that overactive, panicked hoarding mode.
So the energy and the biology are moving in total lockstep.
Always.
So untangling these root causes. The text notes that doing this on your own can be incredibly difficult.
Almost impossible for some.
Because these traumas
Mm.
are woven so deeply into our survival mechanisms, right? We can't always see our own blind spots.
It's protect our blind spots.
And this is where Paul Winter-Singh's unique methodology really steps in. Because his practice, infinite divine energy alignment, it doesn't just do standard energy healing.
No, it's a very specific synthesis.
Right. He combines deep chakra knowledge with the highly specific tool of astrology.
And that synthesis is what sets his practice apart. And it's why it's so crucial for his patients, because it's not just about diagnosing what is wrong.
Okay, so a patient comes in and says, I have severe anxiety and my lower back is killing me.
Right. And you could say, okay, the root chakra is blocked, but that's just the symptom. The astrological component is utilized as a highly detailed diagnostic tool to figure out the deep-seated historical why.
Now, I think a lot of people hear the word astrology and they immediately think of, like, a newspaper horoscope telling them they're going to meet a tall, dark stranger on a Tuesday.
Oh, for sure. That's the pop culture version.
So how does astrology actually map onto the physical perineum and the human nervous system?
In these ancient traditions, an astrological natal chart isn't viewed as a simple fortune-telling device. It is viewed as a complex karmic and historical map of an individual's life cycles.
A historical map.
Yes, it tracks the macro cycles of time and how they imprint on the microcycles of human development.
Okay, I'm following.
So a skilled practitioner uses this chart to point out highly specific periods of vulnerability, deeply ingrained inherited family traumas, or foundational struggles that a person was literally born into.
Wow. So it's looking at the systemic root.
Exactly.
Right.
By combining the immediate, palpable, energetic feedback of the chakras with the historical, cyclical map of astrology, a practitioner like Paul Winder isn't just treating the anxiety you feel today.
They are tracing it back.
Yes, tracing that anxiety all the way back to its original epigenetic or karmic source, pulling it out by the actual root rather than just trimming the leaves on top.
It's like finding a water leak in your ceiling.
Perfect analogy.
You can keep painting over the water stain every month, treating the immediate symptom, but until you go up into the attic, trace the plumbing, and find the exact pipe that burst, the water's just going to keep ruining the paint.
Right.
So in this methodology, the astrology is the architectural blueprint of the house that helps him find the exact broken pipe in your energetic plumbing.
That is a very precise analogy. It allows for a genuinely holistic approach, addressing the origin of the trauma rather than engaging in endless surface-level symptom management.
Okay, but this brings us to a massive question, a real paradox for the modern mind, I think.
Okay, let's hear it.
If these root causes are this deeply embedded in our biology and our history, and the symptoms are as physical as lower back pain or adrenal fatigue,
Right.
how does one go about fixing it? Especially when the healer isn't even in the same room.
The distance healing.
Yeah. The source material details that Paul Winter-Singh frequently conducts remote distance healing sessions. And I have to step into the shoes of the deeply skeptical listener right now.
Please do.
How on earth does distance healing actually work? Is it like a biological cell phone signal? Is it quantum entanglement? How does a practitioner sitting in a clinic in India dial in to your specific energy field if you are sitting on your couch in New York or London without ever physically touching you?
This is almost always the biggest hurdle for beginners to cross, because it fundamentally challenges our Newtonian view of the world.
It really does. It sounds impossible.
To understand distance healing, we have to bend our rigid physical understanding of how the universe operates. The source material states unequivocally that physical location is never a barrier because the connection being made is energetic, not physical.
But how do we conceptualize that without it just sounding like magic?
Well, think about the technology you use every single day.
Okay.
You are perfectly comfortable with the idea that a Wi-Fi router sitting in your living room can beam high-definition, moving images and complex audio through solid concrete walls directly to a piece of glass and metal in your hand, right?
Right. I can't see the Wi-Fi waves with my eyes, but the YouTube video plays flawlessly.
Exactly. You don't question the reality of the Wi-Fi because you understand it operates on specific frequencies that exist outside of our limited visual spectrum.
That makes a lot of sense.
In advanced energy work, the operating principle is that human consciousness and the subtle energetic body exist on a unified grid. A grid that is entirely unbound by physical geography.
Unbound by geography.
And this isn't just ancient mysticism. Modern quantum physics actually discusses concepts that mirror this beautifully.
Like what?
Take quantum non-locality and quantum entanglement. Physicists have proven that two particles can be separated by vast, infinite distances, yet remain instantaneously connected.
Oh, wow.
What happens to particle A instantly and simultaneously affects particle B faster than the speed of light.
So in a quantum sense, space and distance are sort of an illusion.
Yeah.
We're all inherently entangled.
In the energetic framework, absolutely. The unified field connects everything instantly. So a highly skilled practitioner like Paul Winder Singh isn't throwing a ball of energy across the ocean like a quarterback throwing a pass.
Right, because that implies travel time and physical space.
Exactly. Instead, they are tapping into that unified field. They are tuning their own consciousness and frequency to match your specific energetic signature.
Like tuning a radio dial to catch a specific station's frequency.
That's it, exactly. Once that resonance is established, they introduce a harmonizing frequency. Your energy field responds to that resonance instantaneously, regardless of where your physical body happens to be located on the planet.
That is wild to think about. But when you frame it like tuning a radio frequency or experiencing quantum entanglement, it feels a lot less like a fantasy novel and a lot more like a branch of physics. We just don't have the mainstream medical instruments to measure yet.
We are just lacking the specific instruments. But the phenomenon is real.
And the most compelling part of this source material is that we actually have validation of this from real, documented client experiences.
Yes, the reviews are quite striking.
Let's look at some of these reviews. Take the case of Dr. Ajit Shastri Guruji.
The details of Dr. Guruji's review are highly relevant to exactly what we are discussing. He specifically mentions taking Paul Winder's online chakra sessions.
Right. This wasn't an in-person, hands-on treatment. It was online.
Over the internet.
And he states in his review that the experience was a genuine turning point in his life. It brought him a profound, deep sense of calm. And crucially, he noted that it helped stabilize a career that had felt uncertain for a long time.
There's that word again, stabilize.
Now, if we cross-reference that with everything we just learned about the root chakra, career stability, financial security, feeling a deep internal anchor of calm instead of lingering anxiety.
It is a textbook, perfect example of a root chakra transformation.
And it was achieved over a Wi-Fi connection.
It perfectly validates the principles of non-locality we just discussed. The physical location of Dr. Guruji sitting at his computer did not in any way impede the energetic alignment of his foundational chakra. The resonance found him.
And we see this exact same phenomenon repeated in the review from a client named Ramba. Ramba's review is absolutely fascinating to me because her issue was aggressively physical.
Not just emotional.
Right. She sought help specifically for ongoing back problems. And again, if we look at our energetic map, the lower back and the spinal column are the primary physical manifestations of the root chakra's territory.
Yes, her physical foundation was in literal pain.
And she notes that during her very first online healing session, she had an incredibly powerful and effective experience that immediately convinced her to continue the work.
During an online session,
The structural physical pain in her back was actively responding to remote, non-local energy work.
it's incredible.
So we've clearly established that this energetic Wi-Fi connects reliably regardless of geographic distance. But I really want to dig into the sensory experience of this.
What the client actually feels.
Yeah. What does receiving that kind of healing actually feel like to the person sitting on the couch?
Right.
We know what the long-term results look like. Career stability, deep calmness, reduction in physical pain. But in the actual moment the healing is happening, what does it feel like? Because There is a very specific phrase used in one of these reviews that made me stop reading and reread it 3 times.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. You're referring to the review from Manmohan Mishra.
Yes. Manmohan had suffered a knee injury. He was struggling to move properly.
And once again, let's look at the map. The knee, the legs, the downward flow of energy into the earth. It is the physical foundation of the body, completely governed by the root chakra.
He booked sessions with Pelvinder, acting as a Reiki healer. And in his review, Manmohan says he felt real, tangible vibrations of healing during the process.
Tangible vibrations.
How does subtle, invisible energy translate into a physical vibration that a grown man can actually feel in his damaged knee?
It's a great question. And to understand this, we have to look right back at the physical nervous system and the fascial network we talked about earlier.
Okay, the connective tissue.
Right. When we talk about an energy blockage in a chakra, we are very often talking about deeply stored, stagnant physical tension in the body. Tension. When we experience trauma, fear, or a physical injury like Manmohan's, our biological response is to brace ourselves.
We clench.
Yes, we clench. Our muscles tighten, our fascia constricts and hardens, our breathing becomes shallow and locked in the upper chest.
We armor up.
And the terrifying part is we habituate to this. We might not even realize we've been walking around with our lower back or our pelvic floor completely clenched in a trauma response for 10 years.
It's just a permanent, exhausting state of fight-or-flight bracing.
Exactly. It's structural armor. Now, when a practitioner like Paul Wender begins to introduce a harmonizing high vibration frequency into that field,
Okay.
when that stagnant energy finally begins to unblock, the physical body starts to release that deeply stored tension. And that biological release is rarely silent or subtle.
It's physical.
Deeply physical. As the nervous system finally shifts out of the sympathetic fight-or-flight mode and drops down into the parasympathetic rest and digest mode, a massive cascade of physiological events happens. The electrical impulses in the nerve endings begin to fire normally again. Blood flow suddenly rushes back into capillaries and tissues that were tightly constricted.
Oh, wow.
The hardening fascia literally unwinds and hydrates. So, to the person receiving the healing, even remotely, this sudden massive rush of systemic relaxation and electrical normalization is very frequently experienced physically.
So they actually feel it happening.
Yes, they feel sudden waves of heat, intense tingling, deep pulsing, or, exactly as Manmohan described it, real tangible vibrations.
Wow. It makes perfect sense when you describe the biology of it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like when you sit on your foot awkwardly and cut off the circulation and it goes completely numb.
Yes.
When you finally move your leg and the blood and the nerve signals desperately rush back into the tissue, it violently tingles and vibrates. It could almost be overwhelming.
It's incredibly intense.
What Manmohan felt was the literal sensation of a blocked biological and electrical system coming rapidly back online.
That is a brilliant and highly accurate analogy. It is the undeniable physical sensation of flow being restored to a drought-stricken area of the body.
And we see these profound, transformative results across the board in the source material, affecting every layer of the human experience.
It's not just one area of life.
No. Look at Sunita Sharma. She left a review describing Paul Winder as a renowned relationship expert and healer who helped her navigate through incredibly difficult marriage challenges.
Which makes total sense energetically.
Right, because if your root chakra, your sense of safety, is balanced, you can finally interact with your partner without the lens of fear or defensive aggression.
You aren't constantly guarding yourself.
Then you have Rio O'Mara, who came to him with persistent lower abdominal health issues, again, right in that root and sacral chakra territory.
Yep.
Issues that traditional medication had failed to resolve, but Rejul found real, measurable improvement through Paul Winder's healing work. And Rosie Mullick goes as far as calling him the best healer and astrologer in all of India, describing him as a guiding light during her darkest times.
High praise.
Yeah. These aren't minor placebo effect shifts. These are massive structural life changes. But I think it is absolutely crucial that we talk about the timeline involved here.
Setting realistic expectations for the listener is vital, especially when dealing with foundational trauma.
Because we live in that overactive root chakra culture we diagnosed earlier.
We want the quick fix.
We want a magic pill that fixes a decade of anxiety in 20 minutes. We want to listen to one 10-minute guided meditation on YouTube and just be cured of our childhood trauma forever.
It doesn't work that way.
No. And the source text offers a very grounded, sobering reality check. Root chakra healing is not an overnight fix.
It explicitly states that in guided one-on-one work with Paul Winder, achieving proper lasting balance typically unfolds over a period of 3 to 6 months of consistent sessions.
3 to 6 months. I mean, for someone used to next-day delivery, that sounds like an eternity. Why does it take so long?
Because you are fundamentally rebuilding a shattered foundation.
Rebuilding it.
If you buy a house that has a cracked, sinking foundation, you don't just buy a little tube of quick, dry caulk, squirt it into the crack on a Tuesday afternoon, and assume the house is safe.
No, you'd be crazy to do that.
To truly fix it, you have to bring in heavy machinery, you have to excavate the dirt, you have to physically lift the weight of the house, you have to pour entirely new concrete footings,
And that takes time.
and then you have to wait for that concrete to cure and harden. Energetically and neurologically, the process is identical. You have spent decades, perhaps your entire life, building survival habits, deeply grooved, fearful thought patterns.
Coping mechanisms.
Right, and intense somatic bracing in your physical tissues just to protect yourself. Untangling a lifetime of biological armor takes time, consistency, and profound patience. You are literally rewiring the neural pathways of your brain.
That concept of neuroplasticity taking time is so important, though the text does make sure to note that many people notice meaningful, palpable shifts, like feeling safer, breathing deeper, and feeling more grounded, well before that 3 to 6 month mark.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
like Rama feeling immense relief in her very first session.
Right, you absolutely feel the relief and the unburdening of the work immediately. The pressure valve is released. But the lasting stability, the ability to maintain that state of peace when the world throws a new challenge at you, that resilience takes months to secure and cure.
And there's another crucial point regarding the timeline that we need to address here. The dynamic, living nature of chakras.
They are constantly in motion.
Right. They aren't static objects. It's not a video game where you beat the root chakra level, the game auto-saves your progress, and you never have to think about or deal with it ever again.
No, the FAQ section of the source material addresses this reality perfectly. It directly asks the question, can chakras become imbalanced again after healing?
And the answer.
The honest answer is yes. Life stress, trauma, or major changes can disrupt your balance all over again.
Because life happens.
Exactly. You might spend 6 months working with Pal Winder and achieve a perfectly balanced root chakra. You feel incredibly safe, and then a global pandemic hits.
Right.
Or you unexpectedly lose a parent. Or your entire industry collapses overnight. Your biological and energetic system is absolutely going to react to that massive threat. It has to. It's designed to keep you alive.
So the panic comes back.
The fundamental difference is, once you've done the deep healing work, you now have the tools. You have the self-awareness, and you have the baseline of what normal actually feels like.
So you know when you're off center.
Exactly. You can recognize the imbalance quickly and seek the guided support needed to course correct, rather than spiraling blindly down into a complete unaware collapse.
It's exactly like going to the gym. You don't just work out intensely for 6 months, get in the best shape of your life, and then cancel your gym membership and eat junk food on the couch for the rest of your life, expecting to keep your abs.
It doesn't last without effort.
Physical hygiene requires ongoing maintenance.
Yeah.
Energetic hygiene requires ongoing maintenance.
A very apt comparison. Ongoing guided support isn't a sign of failure. It is how you maintain the beautiful architecture you've built.
Well, as we look to wrap up this incredibly expansive deep dive today, let's take a moment to summarize the journey we've been on.
It's been quite a journey.
We started by defining the root chakra, Muladhara, stripping away the mysticism to understand it as the absolute biological and energetic tree trunk of our existence.
Yes.
Located at the base of the spine, tethering us to the heavy, dense element of earth, and providing the immovable square foundation for every single higher aspect of our human experience to build upon.
And then we deeply explored what happens when that foundation cracks.
The symptoms.
Right. We mapped how it swings wildly between the paralyzing, floaty anxiety of an underactive chakra to the aggressive, hoarding, fear-driven materialism of an overactive one.
A state that our modern hustle culture sadly mistakes for ambition.
Yes. We looked closely at how those invisible energetic imbalances manifest in the literal physical flesh of our bodies.
In chronic lower back pain, knee issues, and the sheer biological exhaustion of adrenal fatigue.
And we discovered that skilled healers, like Paul Winder Singh, using the combined diagnostic blueprint of astrology and the unconstrained quantum reach of distance energy work, can help rebuild that foundation.
Whether you are sitting in his clinic in India or in your living room, halfway across the world.
And perhaps most importantly, we establish the reality that this is a dedicated process. It takes time, consistency, and patience to gently retrain a nervous system that has entirely forgotten how to feel safe.
Exactly. So I want to speak directly to you, the listener, right now.
Yes.
If you are walking around feeling ungrounded today, if you are carrying that inexplicable heavy anxiety in your chest, or you find yourself constantly worried about your survival and obsessing over your security, even when logic dictates that you are perfectly fine, you do not have to guess your way through this alone.
You really don't.
You don't have to just live with it. There are profound ancient frameworks and highly experienced practitioners equipped to help you find your footing again.
True healing is possible.
But before we officially sign off, I want to toss the mic over to our expert for one final thought. Based on everything we've unpacked in the source material today, what is one last, slightly provocative concept our listeners should chew on as they go about their day?
I want to leave you with something highly practical to ponder regarding the physical reality of our modern daily lives.
Okay.
The source text states very clearly that the root chakra is strictly and undeniably tied to the earth element.
Right.
Throughout this entire deep dive, we've talked extensively about emotional trauma, childhood instability, and psychological stress causing these imbalances. But I want you to consider your literal physical interaction with the world for a moment.
Okay.
Most of us live in elevated high-rise apartments or houses lifted off the ground on concrete foundations.
Yeah.
We walk entirely on paved asphalt and concrete sidewalks. We drive in metal boxes suspended on thick rubber tires. And from the moment we wake up, we strap thick, synthetic, rubber-soled shoes onto our feet.
Oh, wow. Rubber.
Rubber is a literal insulator. It completely blocks electrical conductivity. We spend our entire lives completely insulated from the natural, subtle electrical charge of the Earth's surface.
Wow. We are literally, physically insulated from the earth.
Completely blocked. So if you are experiencing severe root chakra imbalance, if you feel floaty, chronically anxious, and entirely disconnected from your foundation, could it be because, quite literally, your physical, biological body has not been allowed to touch the actual bare earth in years?
You've cut the circuit.
You have cut off the circuit. It's something to seriously think about the next time you step outside.
Take your shoes off, people. Go stand in the grass. Reconnect the circuit. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the root chakra. Explore your foundation, check in with your tree trunk, and we will see you on the next one.